Hi artists, today we're going to learn how to draw a still life and we're going to learn how to set up a still life. First, what I usually do is have my students think about different objects that they would like to draw and the different levels that they're at, because with a still life you'd really like to have something higher, something lower, and different shapes. So here I have a few objects. I'm going to use this as my height and I'm going to decide which objects fit in my still life. And don't think I want the shell. So I think I will keep the fruit and I will keep this oil can. So I think this is a good setup. It shows a little variety of shapes. This is sort of elongated. This is a sort of round shape, a little taller and taller yet. So this I think is a good place for us to start. Okay, artists, the still life is set up and we are ready to roll. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the object that's closest to you. As the artist, you will look at your still life, you'll identify which object is closest to you, and that's what I encourage my students to start with. So I'm going to start with the apple because that's closest to me. One of the things that I have my students think about while they're drawing is sort of really focusing on the shape that you're drawing, and to do that, you can actually look more at the subject than at your paper. And you can also sort of visualize that your pen is an extension of your finger, and you are actually touching the edges of your subject. So here's my little apple, and the next object that I see is the grapes. That's sort of in line with the apple, a little bit above. So first I'm going to start with just a few of the shapes to get my line drawn. I'm going to just focus on the outer edges of the grapes. Then I'm going to come in and add a little bit of the shapes I see in front. You can always fill in later. Just to get it laid out, you want to have just the correct shape, overall shape. So that will be enough to get me started. Now the next object that I see is this pink vase, and again it's in line a little bit with the oil can, so I'm going to start with that pink vase. I'm going to start with the bottom of the vase, and I'm going to notice the curvature. The very bottom has a nice curve, and we go up. It's a little bit tricky with a whiteboard marker, but pencil will be much more fluid. And I'm going to get that shape on the top just penciled in, even though I know I will be overlapping with my daffodils. So there's my shape of my vase, and I'll just start to do a little suggestion of what I'm seeing coming out of the vase so we can move on to the oil can. So here's this fun little frilly little cup. Really get noticing all of those interesting shapes and lines that you'll see. Let things go off the paper. If they go out of the frame, I always tell my students, just let it go. Don't try to force it and change the size of it to fit. So now I'm going to jump over to the oil can, and actually part of it is masked by this apple, but I see the curvature at the bottom, and I'm going to go straight up and get both sides. So it's like a cylinder. So each curve is going to mimic the next. This curve, and this curve will all be the same, and my straight lines will remain straight. So again, I'm going a little quick, but you will slow it down, I'm sure. And now I'm going to notice really paying attention, because it's easy to make things like this up, but this handle actually starts at the bottom and ends at the top, so it's quite long. And now I'm going to add my little spout. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do to place this is I'm going to draw the line in the distance that I see from the back of the table. And for me, that's about midway through this vase, and it's going to just go all the way across. So there we have it. We have a line drawing of the still life that we just set up. Next part will be coloring.